Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. I know, it's been a long time since I've had a video. A lot's been going on. I'll bring you up to speed in the next video or so. But right now, it's early in the morning. I'm still down here in the Keys. And I'm at a marina. I just drove over to a marina. I'm parked here at their little slip, waiting for them to get done with a little project, and then they're going to take the forklift and lift me out of the water. One of the things that seems to pop up in the comments every single video is people, they love seeing the trip and seeing, kind of living through me on this boat or whatever boat I have. But it's still, comments keep coming up saying, I'd love to see what maintenance you do on the boat, because I know boats are a lot more than just having fun. There's maintenance to every boat, even a brand new boat. And that's true. So there are a couple of things that need to get done. So I'll go ahead and add that to the beginning of the video. One is there is a through-hole transducer, not quite through-hole. It's a transducer for the depth finder. And it's right down below the steps where the V of the bottom of the boat is. They take a round piece of plastic. It's like a cylinder about this tall, and it's glued down to the hull with a sealant. And then they fill it up with a little bit of antifreeze, and then they put the transducer in it, and it shoots through the liquid in through the hull. That's how you can be scooting along at full speed and still get good reading, because it's part of the hull. Well, it looks like, I'm just conjecturing here, that when they installed it from the factory, they didn't do a good job with cleaning the bottom of the plastic, because it quit reading, and when I went down there, I just wiggled it and the whole thing came loose. And on the bottom of the plastic, it looked like they just pulled it out of the box and never wiped it clean and never roughed it up with a little sandpaper, because it was still slick and still almost slimy with, like what they make plastic out of. It just had that smoothness to it. And sealer does not stick to smooth plastic. You have to rough it up a little bit. So I'm going to take care of that. That should be pretty easy. And then the other maintenance item is the 20-hour. It's a brand new boat, but going down to the Keys and a little bit of driving around, I'm now into the 20 hours. And there's a 20-hour oil change and lower gear oil change. So I'm going to do those two items. So let's go ahead and get to it. So this cover comes off right here. And that is the bilge area where the forward bilge pump is at, the sump pump for the shower, and this is supposed to be 5200 new word to the hull. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a knife, you can see I already started, and I'm going to scrape off this old 5200, wipe down. It's still very slick with that pink, you can see it's down here in the hull, that pink antifreeze. I'm going to take some cleaner, clean this off, put new 5200 down, embed it good, and let it dry before I put antifreeze in it. So this is just cleaning, rebedding, gluing down for today. So that's today's project. It never ends. So my tools for today are good old 5200, some acetone, plenty of rags, because when you mess with 5200, you get it all over the place, a screwdriver, and I had to buy a $20 bottle of ready mixed antifreeze, and all I need is like a cup, if that, maybe a half a cup of this. But you can't buy anything but a gallon, so I wrote off $20 to the project. It's just kind of things you do in a boat. So let's get started. So one of the things that this acetone does, it does two things. First off, it cleans off and neutralizes the slimy stickiness of the antifreeze so that the 5200 can adhere better. Secondly, acetone is strong enough to actually melt the surface of this plastic. You can see the plastic is actually starting to melt and come off on the rag. That's not grease, that's actually plastic. And what it's doing is the plastic has a smooth surface to it. Once I wipe this acetone on and it breaks that surface tension, it actually makes a little bit of a rough surface. Now the 5200 can adhere to this. Otherwise 5200 would just peel right off of smooth plastic. It is very tenacious on a lot of things, but smooth shiny plastic it won't stick to. So that's why I'm really, and I'm going to build a barrier between, I'm going to put 5200 here, and when it goes down I'm going to put another layer around the top. I want this to be part of the boat forever. Forever and ever. So I like doing things right. So whoever gets this boat after me will never have a problem with this again. That's just how I like to do things. If you're going to do it right. It's my motto. Okay, I've got it all. Whoops, get the light on. Let's turn a light on and see if I can get a little bit better view for you. There we go. All right, hopefully that helps. Okay, I've scraped off all the old 4200. I know it was 4200 because it was fairly easy to scrape it off with a knife, where if it was 5200, it would have been a bear. Got it all off. I've wiped it all down with acetone to get rid of the antifreeze. So now it's nice and dry. And I'm going to hit it a little bit of 80 grit sandpaper just to rough it up, just to make sure. And if you can hear in the background, there is a major storm just getting ready to hit me. It's just starting to rain. So we'll see how well that comes through on a mic. The reason I'm sanding it is I want to break up any of the shininess of the gel coat. All right. Wipe it off a little bit. Any dust off of it. All right. Now I've also sanded the edge of this 20-degree angular seating base. It's angular, obviously, so it allows the transducer to sit square on an angled transom. And this is a 20-degree version of it. They come in different degrees. I also took a little bit of light 80 grit sandpaper and went around all of this to break the shininess of the plastic where the glue is going to be. And this rubber O-ring, I used some silicone thick grease on it, just very lightly on inside and out. And you don't want too much on there because too much grease sometimes can cause it to pop out, even though this type would never do that because it's down inside of a little channel, so there's no way for it to come out. But I want to make sure this is not going to leak ever. All right, so one more little brushing, getting any dust off of it. Want to sanded it. All right, I think we are ready. Now this goes in with this little tab facing the keel of the boat, or the center of the boat. That way it puts this level. And I decided to use 5200 Fast Cure. The reason I went with 5200 is it's permanent, as opposed to 4200, or which they actually call 4000 now. It's very good, but it can be removed. And this is the midpoint, almost almost the forward part of the boat. In fact, it is the forward part of the boat, up near the bow. When I'm running 30 miles an hour, there's a lot of pounding going on right below me. The water's, you know, ½ inch below this fiberglass hull. That's a lot of shaking going on. And I want to make sure that this is really, really, really secure. So I decided to go with the 3M 5200. The reason I went with fast cure is 5200 straight is what they refer to as self-leveling. And how they do that is it's very, very thin. If I were to put some around here and push it down, by an hour, all of it would run down into the keel because it's very, very thin. It doesn't sit still. The fast cure version is like toothpaste. It's much thicker. Plus, it doesn't take 7 days to cure. This is a quarter of the time to cure. So I'm going to push it down, being as though it is like paste. It should sit perfectly still if I could talk. And I'm going to leave it alone. And this is something about 5200. You have to make sure you do it right the first time. It is so gooey and nasty and sticky and tenacious that you don't want to mess with it. So I'm putting a nice thick, man, it's a lot thicker than the 5200 self-leveling. I'm squeezing like my hand is shaking. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's a workout. All right. All right, that's good coverage. Put the lid on real quick so it doesn't start to cure. Here we go. First time is the charm. All right, right here. Boom. Just a slight push. And that's it. Now, I'm going to regret doing this, but I'm going to use my finger and wipe it around to cover the edges. And the reason I regret doing this is this stuff just gets in the pores of your skin, and it is just so tenacious. It's crazy. It's not like silicone glue where you can just wipe it off easily with a rag. I mean, you can, but it still just like stays in your pores for days. All right. And again, that's it. If it ain't pretty, don't mess with it. It's not like silicone where you can keep on playing with it. Even silicone you don't want to because it'll start to skin over and really mess up. You want to just leave it alone. All right, it's there, it's permanent. I ain't gonna mess with it. And it looks really good inside. Yes, it's swelling up around the edges, which is nice. Beautiful. It's exactly what I wanted to see. Clean up the stuff off my fingers. Look at that. You wipe it, and it still stays stuck to your pores. That's as much as you can wipe. It just gets into everything. This stuff is amazing. So, it's now setting up. I'm going to let it set for, let's look at the instructions here. Yes, I'm going to read the instructions. Holy mackerel, I needed my glasses. That's like so small. It says, see, I'm just touching it, it gets on me. What the heck? It's just all over the place. All right. Look at this. I wiped it off and it's still getting on me. Oh my gosh. Where is it coming from? I'm sure those of you that have messed with 5200 in the past, look, it's all over my fingers now. That have messed with 5200 are probably laughing or chuckling because you know exactly what's happening here. This stuff gets everywhere. All right. Good. All right. It says, becomes tack-free in 1 hour, cures in 24 hours. All right, I'm going to leave it for 24 hours before I put the cover back on and fill it with fresh antifreeze. Well, I've got it out of the water. I'm going to be doing a lower unit gear case oil change. And I've taken off the covers, but these plugs are like super tight. And I don't have anything wrench-wise to stick on there. Oh, I got it. Oh, yes, sir. Okay. All right. Got those both loose. You have to pull out these caps that cover both of the screws. All right. Take the bottom one off. And the oil should stay in there. Okay. Smells okay. Okay, it's looking nice and clean. Perfect, thank you. That's making a little better. Okay, I've pumped it back up and got both of the screws nice and tight. Now I'm putting the covers back in. There we go. Oh, all right. New fresh oil on my brand new motor. 20-hour oil change or lower gear case change. And now I'm going to do the big boy up ahead, at the top. But I'll wait till I get back to the house for that. Okay, thanks again.
Ready?
Yep.
You're good.
Thank you. Have a good day. So glad I got that done. Open the windows. It's hot in here. Oh man. Well, I made it here. I'm all docked up. It's the next morning. And I'm gonna take this overcast day, look at that, nice overcast, no rain, just overcast, and do my 20-hour oil change. I did the lower end, so now it's time to do the engine. However, I'm a bonehead, as you know, so I forgot my oil pump that you slide down the dipstick tube. So I'm a dipstick. And I need to get on my bicycle, ride up, use the bus, go into Marathon, and West Marine is going to be my savior. So I'm going to hop on the bike. All right, I bought myself an electric oil extractor. So let's get this thing hooked up and get my oil extracted. Well, that was fun carrying this thing on the bike. I added, too bad I only had two hands. I had to hold on handlebar, had this balancing between my knees, and I'm pedaling with the hitting the box with my knees as I'm going. And I only fell over one time, right here at the gate of the house, trying to stop and get off the bike at the same time. I tried to step off and my knees hit this, knocks the bike over, and at least I didn't fall on the ground and get all scratched up like I did with the scooter on my trip on the Great Loop. All right, let's see if I can get this big old cowling off. If thing's big enough to, that's a That's a dinghy the size of that cowling. It's huge. All right, let's see what this thing weighs. Ah, okay. Okay, I've got the wire hooked up to the battery after a lot of rigmarole. And get this hose down in here, and it's hitting bottom. All right, let's turn it on. Let's turn it on. Let's turn it on. Jeez, really? It goes this way. And it's pulling oil. All right. I've warmed up the engine. It's still fairly warm, not super hot, but it's warm. So it's pulling nicely. Alrighty. She is done. Steady hands, Michael, steady hands. Of course, the only funnel I could find, because I forgot to bring mine, of course, is a little tiny funnel. The hole in it's the size of my pinky. So this is going to take a while. What's new? One down, one to go. So now it's supposed to take just over 2 gallons. So I'm going to stop before the 2nd gallon because you never pump everything out. And what came out was absolutely beautiful, clear, wonderful look. It looks just like what I'm pouring in. So that's a real good sign. Of course, this is only 20 hours, a little over 20 hours. That's basically the break-in period. And then it goes to every 100 hours. I've topped it off. Now I'm going to crank the engine for 30 seconds or so, and then turn it off and check it again. Let's see, check my gauge. Got good oil pressure. Yep. Okay. Let it drain down, and hopefully we'll be tip-top perfect. And I can close it back up and we'll be done with that part of the project. Sure nice having a big, beautiful, brand new motor on the back of the boat. Even smells new. All right, let's see what we got. Man, that oil is so clear it's hard to see. Okay, I'm going to let it settle some before I add any more there. I think a little more is going to drain down. Anyway, that's all it takes to change your oil outboard. Now the filter, according to the maintenance, for the 20 hours, you don't have to change the oil filter, unless of course the oil looks dirty for some reason. The oil coming out from 20 hours was just beautiful, looked brand new. So no reason to suspect anything wrong. And I'm going by the maintenance plan, which says first filter change is 100 hours. done. Okay, it has been 2 days, and that 5200 fast gear, I'm sure, is set really, really well. So now I'm going to dump in some pre-mixed antifreeze and close the lid on this project. So hopefully this thing will work a whole lot better than being laying down sideways in the bilge. So let's get in there. That should be plenty. All right, here goes nothing. Looks like Gatorade. I wonder if it tastes like Gatorade. All right, that should be plenty. I'm sure plenty is going to spill out. It's about a little over a half, maybe 3/4. All right, so there's a little pointer here that has to go towards that tab so that the screws line up. Here we go. And please spill out. And nothing's spilling out. That's not good. Uh-oh. That means there's not enough in there. I thought I figured it right, but I figured it a little short. A little more. All right, now there's plenty in there. There we go. And it's spilling out like it should. Okay, good. Screwdriver. If you see me turn them backwards, for those of you that don't know, you always want to turn a screw backwards if there are threads until it snaps. You hear it snap. That means that the main part of the thread has dropped into its groove. That way you will never cross thread. Okay, we are back. Clean up any spillage. Hardly any spillage. Nice. Well, I think that's all I've got for you for this week. It's so different than doing the loop. It's an entirely different boat as well. It's interesting because I had the big Meridian, and it was great because the inside is huge and you've got, place to lay down here and there and big TV and all the fun stuff, the galley here and there. This boat has everything the same, it's just a little smaller. And so it feels a little tighter. However, this boat's a lot easier to maneuver, a lot easier to get into shallow areas, hop on and go, and it's 3 times as fast as the big boat. Well, actually, no. Actually, the big boat, if you want to put it to the wall, that big boat did 28 miles an hour. Of course, I was sucking down about 100 gallons a second. This boat, I'm cruising at 28 to 30 and getting 2 miles per gallon, which is pretty good for an outboard, or pretty good for a boat, period, that has all this inside of it. So, it's such a give and take. It's just something that I'm slowly getting used to. It's a great Keys boat, to tell you that. I don't think the big boat would have been as comfortable in the Keys as this boat. This boat is just so much more convenient. And I'm very proud of it. I'll tell you what, everywhere I go, the looks I get, people are rubbernecking looking at this boat, or they're stopping by wanting to look at the boat just to talk about it. It's an extremely unique and good looking boat. There's not a lot of Ranger tugs in the state of Florida compared to where they're built, which is in Washington State. In Washington State, there's just massive quantities of people that own them, and they keep them because they love them. So yeah, I've got myself a pretty darn neat boat here. I really, really love it. The more I use it, just the more I love it. It is pretty awesome. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. And thanks for riding along. and I'll see you in the next one. Oops. Bye-bye.